Welcome to a presentation by Carol Richardson, Lynn Roberts, and Cassandra Caldwell. This presentation is entitled Student Challenges, or How Do I Handle This One? Students that have no one-size-fits-all answer. This presentation will include examples of a few categories of challenges, offer some ways to handle them. These are gleaned from the personal experiences of the presenters, as well as from the authors, creators of the resources posted in the Week 3 area of our course site. John Orlando, in his article, Tips for Handling Student Excuses, understands that, quote, students will come up with all kinds of excuses for missing assignments and other work, end quote, if they're given the chance to do that. He suggests some strategies for dealing with this reality. Number one among them is don't take it personally. Too many teachers take it personally when they catch students cheating. Students don't cheat as a personal affront to their teachers. They do it because they can't succeed the regular way. Students lie for themselves, not against us as the teachers. One student who was in the military kept missing classes and assignments, coming up with excuses each time. Near the end of class, he sent me a note stating that he was withdrawing because he was an alcoholic and that the Army was sending him to rehab. So clearly, there was nothing personal in that student's decision. Lightning rarely strikes twice. I tend to give students the benefit of the doubt the first time, but get really suspicious the second and third time. Repeat occurrences require proof. Model trust. In the movie House of Games, Joe Mantegna plays a con man who teaches a woman the tricks of the trade. He tells her in the midst of a con that, quote, this is a confidence game. Why? Because you give me your confidence. No, because I give you my confidence and you reciprocate. So start by giving your students trust. Take it out of your hands. A famous negotiating theorist once asked what a company that builds munitions should do if protesters sit on the railroad tracks that lead out of the plant. The conductor could inch the locomotive forward toward the protesters and hope that they will move off. But the smarter move is to start the train moving and then jump off. This takes the decision out of his hands, which is a powerful negotiating device. Similarly, establish a situation that takes the subjectivity out of the equation. I might say something like, one of my jobs as a teacher is to distinguish phony excuses from real excuses, since giving extensions for phony excuses is unfair to students who planned ahead to get their assignments done on time. What I have seen here indicates to me that this is a late assignment. If you can provide evidence that this is not the case, then I will happily change my decision, but until then, this is what I see. Try to preempt problems. A teacher once told me that he prefaces assignments with the comment that, quote, I've consulted with IT, and all of the printers in the school have never failed at the same moment, so don't use that excuse, end quote. Establish a policy on excuses ahead of time. This not only reduces the number of excuses you will get, but also takes you out of the position of having to decide on a case-by-case basis after class when you're cornered by a student on your way to your next appointment. I tend to trust adults more than traditional age students. I don't know if this is biased, and it's certainly based on anecdotal evidence, but I believe that adults have more responsibilities than traditional age students, and so are more likely to run into life problems. There's a story in my family about me being hospitalized as a very young child with some sort of seizure issues. The doctors told my father that they would have to tie me down to the bed to prevent me from pulling out my tubes at night. My father told them that nobody was going to tie his son down, and so he stayed up all night by my bedside holding me when I went into seizure. He had an exam for a class the next morning, which he missed, and ended up having to leave school. He always regretted not getting his degree. Thanks to John Orlando for most of the text that was read in this slide. Now let's take a look at difficult students. According to Mary Bart in her 2012 article, Dealing with Difficult Students and Other Classroom Disruptions, she classifies these behaviors in one of three categories. They're either annoying, disruptive, or dangerous. While her examples are specific to the face-to-face classroom, the tips she provides are applicable to the online learning space as well. For example, be proactive on the first day. As you build your course information, make one of your first announcements detail your behavioral expectations for the class. Whether in text or video, chat sessions, threaded discussions, or email, make it clear that communication must convey respect and civility toward each and every member of the learning community. Articulate these expectations in the syllabus as well, and take every opportunity to remind students of these expectations throughout the term. As Dr. Bart says, explain the type of learning environment you're looking to create. Taking the time to set the tone and share a little bit about yourself is an investment that will pay dividends throughout the semester. Speak with the student about the behavior. When you witness or have reported to you an example of unacceptable behavior, the first step is for you to speak with that student. Private email is a reasonable first move. With luck, the student will immediately respond to your outreach with an apology and promise to improve. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does. Sometimes students will want to speak to you either by telephone or via a video chat like Skype or FaceTime or some other private method. Take that request to speak to you as an opportunity to listen to the student's perspective and reinforce what he or she is doing well in the class, while being clear, again, of your behavioral expectations. Refer the student to the student conflict or student conduct office or campus behavioral intervention team. Unfortunately, even with these expectations clearly articulated, you will sometimes encounter students who refuse to conform to these norms. In such cases, don't hesitate to seek help. In extreme cases, to avoid disruption in the online course, it may be necessary for the course administrator to arrange to have the student's access to the course site terminated. Moving to the next slide, an 8-step outline for difficult conversations. Mary Bart goes on to outline these 8 steps to help guide the difficult conversations that you ultimately may need to have with students who are disruptive despite your best efforts to guide them into appropriate behavior. So she lists, number 1, describe the behavior and its impacts. When you speak with that student, you need to be very explicit about exactly what the behavior was and how it has impacted the learning experience for other students. Number 2, listen to the student's perspective and the student's response. So listening skills are important here. Number 3, discuss appropriate behavior. You've described the inappropriate. Now it's time to discuss exactly what that appropriate behavior might be and get the student to respond and give you that description. Discuss the resources that are available to promote success. Sometimes behavior that's disruptive is the result of students who are simply flailing about, feeling that they can't be successful, and struggling to articulate what the real reasons are for their behavior. So try to get to the bottom of it and make sure that they know how they can be successful. Number 5, reiterate or set parameters for future behaviors and make it clear that anything other than that is unacceptable. Number 6, share the consequences for noncompliance so that students know clearly what will ultimately occur if they are unable or unwilling to modify their behaviors. Number 7, summarize everything that you've said before you end that conversation, whether it's face-to-face, by telephone, by chat, by video, whatever the means is, make sure that you summarize those points. And finally, number 8, inform the student of any follow-up that might need to occur. You're going to document it, of course, and share that documentation with the student. Let the student know who else you're going to share this information with, and then periodically check in with the student to ensure that these corrective measures have taken root. So these overall are not easy conversations to have, but you want to approach the conversation from the point of, I'm really concerned about this behavior, because if it continues, it's going to get in the way of you being successful. You have to let the student know that you are invested in his or her success. And that concludes this present student challenges. The presenter information is displayed before you. If you have questions or comments, please make sure that you contact one of us. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to hearing from you. Here are some of the references used as part of this presentation.